business owner of Gift of Health Limited, Trinidad and Tobago Health Solutions, St. Lucia. My specialty in orthomolecular specialist. I am a clinical microscopy blood analyst, and also I practice, I'm a nutritionist. My training is in the field of CMBCA, blood pathology, nanomedicine, and everything that comes in depth training in energy, pharmacogenetics, pharmacokinetics, with cutting technology, nutrition, biology, and neuroscience, using different modalities and quantum screening and scans. I consult with integrative clinics. My belief and part, I wholeheartedly believe we should be returned to the gifts of nature and the quest for balance in wisdom, mind, body, and soul. So folks, tonight, I want to touch on the river of life. You know, in this time, we are going through a lot of issues, you know, in today's world with our immunity flow, immune system knockdown. And I want to touch basically in why our immune system and our river of life has such issues, you know, going on in our tissues. But before we touch on that, I want you to look at the human microbiome, and I would like none other than Master King Clive of the microbiome king himself just give us a brief touch, about 5 minutes, on what is the human microbiome and what these bacteria involves in our human varroa. Master Clive, are you there, sir? Charlie, as we call
Okay.
it.
Most definitely, most definitely. So, ladies and gentlemen, by now, you might have heard that as humans, we do not have our bodies to ourselves. We have travelers with us on our journey, a whole lot of travelers. Indeed, travelers might be the right word to use because we are almost like a ship transporting microbes around. So we're hearing that the human body, comprising of 110 trillion cells, have 100 trillion microbes to 10 trillion human cells. So it's a great shift from how we started out, because on day one, when we were born, we were 99% human cells and 1% microbial cells. But in a 36-month period thereabout, something serious, something tremendous, something marvelous happened. And guess what? This is the arrangement in terms of how God intended the body to function. So guess what? Many of our professionals that take care of our health has not yet gotten this memo. So they have been writing prescriptions to help us to lower the amount of microbes in the body, get rid of the bad microbes in the body, and so on. But what we are learning from medical science, that the humans and microbes are symbiotic relationship. We benefit from each other. So what the microbes benefit in sense that they have a protected place, they are hydrated, they find food, and they ask us not to do anything to hurt them. In return, the microbes would make our food, they make 30 different neurotransmitters, they supercharge our immune system, protect it and feed it and guard it. They would fix our digestion in terms of helping us to digest food, maintain our weight. These microbes would help to regulate our metabolism, even our endocrine system, glands and hormones, switch off and switch on our genes, and help us in the anti-aging process. Now, these microbes are so important that they are given a name by science, the microbiome. These microbes are so important that they are likened to the human brain. Where we get that from? Medical science is calling these collection of microbes in the gut the second brain. 39 trillion live microorganisms have formed themselves into a brain inside of your gut. And ladies and gentlemen, they perform functions similar to the human brain. And look, here is what is happening. The brain, the gut microbiome, and the immune system, they have what they call an axis, gut-brain immune axis, and they create what they call homeostasis or balance for the human body. If any one of those three is out of whack, then the entire system is out of balance. That is why we become sick, because the microbiome is damaged. because doctors don't know that it's there. We were never taught it because the doctors don't know. We are unlikely to know because the medical doctors represents those persons who are trained a lot in the field of medicine and biology, human biology. So we didn't know. So inadvertently, we have damaged our microbiome. How so? With antibiotics, medication, with improper diet. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever look at your plate, what we are eating, and realize that we are 90% microbe, you realize how stupid that meal looks because we are only thinking of the 10% of the cells in the body, and we are not bearing in mind the 90% of the cells in the body. And that is why our food has become our nemesis, especially what we call food, not because we can chew on it, mean that it is food. Things in bags and bottles and tins and things like that. That's fake food. I know some of you might take me on for this, but what we got supermarket and spend most of the money to buy is not really food. It looks like food, smell like food, tastes like food, but it's not food. And it's causing damage with also people who drink and people who smoke and stress out, especially in this COVID season, our microbiome is damaged. But ladies and gentlemen, we have good news to share with you because we have a company called Sankey Global, 4 powerful solutions to help us to deal with this anomaly in the gut. So I'll hand over back now to Dr. Pereira.
Amazing, amazing. That was a beautiful 5 minutes. Wow. And so much information, and this was not, planned. I just wanted, him to share our king of microbiome in basically the human microbiome and how our human virome works with the different, digestion, immune system, and all of these, the modulation of the central nervous system. And he said it exactly to fall in line with what I'm going to speak about tonight. So tonight I'm going to give you real live studies. This is a patient, a cancer patient, who has breast cancer and lung cancer. It has spread to the lungs. So the results showed, all right, when she went to do a follow-up, they said this is what is going on. 44-year-old, sorry, now start to live her life, and this is her fate. And I got permission to use her blood spills. Now I know this is going off on YouTube, but because of the permission that I have, we are here to share information. So for you, in terms of looking at your blood. So this is what is the river of life, folks. Regardless of what we want to say, what we want to think, anything that happens to the system, it actually, the first step a medical doctor will do is take your blood, and then they go analyze it. Now, this is blood seen on the live blood analyst, analyzing, all right? Dark field microscopy. Now, what we've seen in this blood cell, and you have enough time to be looking at that blood cell, I want to give you an idea and get into your spirit what your blood does. Your red blood cells, all 35 trillion of them, are very important to you to carry oxygen and nutrition to every cells of your body. And on its return, bring back to the heart, will also carry out the cellular garbage, which happens in the lymphatic system, all right? So that is what happens when the blood circulates through the system and the garbage and sends nutrition throughout the body, oxygenate the cells, and then it brings it back through the lymphatic system. The garbage carries out the cellular garbage. Now, on an average, a red blood cell lives 120 days. All right, so in a normal adult, 20 millions of these red blood cells are destroyed every minute. So new blood cells are continually formed to replace them. And guess where they are born? In the bone marrow as well as the spleen. All right, so there's where the red blood cells and the white blood cells are born, in the bone marrow. So if we have problems going through our system, as Master Clive talked about nutrition, what we are eating, it changes, as you will see my cursor going around with the arrow, your biological terrain. All right. And what happens? These cells have sophisticated communities. Okay. They don't work like your brain. it don't signal from the brain. It signals each other. Each cell has its own mental signaling. All right, we call them their signals, and each of them performs a special task. So the red colonies, for example, will deliver everything in the cellular communities that needed to sustain life. And the very specialized white blood cells, their task is to identify the intruders and microbes such as viruses and bacteria. And what they do, they engulf them finally and devour them through macrophages. And all of these are the sentinels that come on stream. So what we are seeing here, you see all these white puddles that you are seeing on this blood, in this blood, and maybe some yellows you are seeing if you can see it clearly on your screen. Those are high protein in the blood. Now proteins, what protein does? Proteins actually, when there is too much in the blood, can cause disruption, can cause diseases, can cause high blood pressure, can cause creatinine in the kidneys, can cause liver fat content, can cause all your organs to go into a damaged state. All right. So the blood, according to Len Horowitz, he said it's a creator and the individual. It's a contract with you and your divine health, because the blood gives you life. Now, the good book says, and I know a lot of people, have their own interpretation of what blood is and all of that, but that is really what is called your river of life. It's your connection to your entire life being. So if you think the microbiome is like an AI in your body, which Master Clive has been talking about, it is your second brain. It is totally not human, because microbes and all of these microbiomes live together synergistically within the body, but it is there to perform cellular breaking down, rebuilding, nutritionalizing the body, and bringing it to the optimum health. And what is the river of life? Leviticus 17:11 says, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it the life to you on the altar to make atonement. What is that meaning? The Bible is written in algorithms. The good book I say, because I know we have a lot of different, belief systems on board, but they all come to one common understanding, and that means at one ment within you and your created being for life. All right, for it is the blood that makes that atonement. So it gives you life. So the same way the blood gives you life, it can take it back from you. So when viewed now, and we are looking, this is one of my modalities that I look at when someone is ill. All right, and they come and say, and mind you, this 44-year-old woman was given up by the medical system. They had run through chemotherapy, radiation, and they say nothing has worked, so we give you up, go home and die. That was her words when I got her to take care of her 6 months ago. All right, so this was a 6 months ago blood spill. And this is what we viewed. So mostly we are seeing high protein puddles, which will happen when you see all these little things that you see looking like little critters in the blood. Those are acetids, they call them. These are what are microbial bacteria in the blood, and the cancer cells in all of them. I mean, you may not be able to identify, but I can show you them, and seeing they're inside the system. So you're seeing this blood, sticky cells, it's all glutenated together, not round and nice and floating around. It is congested with proteins, which is degenerating the system, as I said before. And the higher the protein puddles in a cancer cell or a arthritic condition, rheumatoid arthritis, and all the inflammation in the body, the more of these we see, is the more degenerating the system is becoming. So you can see the cells looking like they are like floating, but oily base, like, in oil, how oil floats around. That's how these cells are. So what these cells are telling us is that it is showing that it has a struggle within the immune flow. So when this struggle starts to happen, what is going to happen to the body? It will eventually hurt the soul, because when the soul suffers, remember, you are a triune being, you will find yourself in a lot of health issues and sickness within the body, because that's the connection to your life force. All right. Greg Braden said it best, and you can look him up and look at his videos and so forth, his books and so forth. So by viewing this person's blood, living blood, we call it, her red blood cells, white blood cells, which is the defenders, and the platelets. Now, the bigger rod formation that you see in here are the platelet aggregation, we call them. So the higher the platelet is the more inflamed the body is, and is the more clotting and clumping you will be having on the inside. All right. So when this is happening, what is going to happen to this body? And I will show you it by the color codes of the cell as well. It does have a meaning. That's called the blood code, is that the body now has reached a point where it is, you know, under devastation. The mind cannot think properly, fogginess, she's in derision, delirium, and all of these things are happening to the body. So the RBCs now are in chaos, as we would say it. All right. So when this RBCs go in chaos, it means now that what we are seeing is a lot of something called cytokines going on in the blood range there, because the pathogens in the blood cells now are feeding on the nutrition, and it is telling the macrophages now that suppose the white blood cells to interact, that this is what is happening with my body, and it is building replications of itself and causing mass explosion in here. All right. And that is what we call cytokines, because cytokines are a very important set of proteins in the body. And these proteins serve as hormones for the immune system. So when it hits the system, these cancer cells hit the system, obviously your immune system is going to be knocked down. And that poses a threat. And so the communication there that is going back and forth is where we having this communicating of overload of these pathogens in the body, and it becomes a cytokine storm. So when this happens, it starts to destroy and devour as it goes along. Hence the reason when they said it was spread to the lungs, that's the reason why you're seeing all these darkness. The darkness in the cell says that there's respiratory issues, toxicity in the body. It can even be some of the chemotherapy is still loaded in her cells and causing toxicity in the system. And that is why the cells are looking like that. Then it will affect respiratory issues as well, because, you know, it has started to congest the lungs and alveoli in the lungs. So high inflammation. So what this is showing us is that she's also retaining water, which actually had happened, you know. So all of these things we are still seeing in her body. All right. So when we do the different types of tests, you know, normally they will do IL testings, which is interleukin testings, right, to convert the number of cytokines in there. So they have them like 2, 4, 6, etc. The lab slips will find those out. But in live blood analysis, once you know, you can read the blood, you can see all of that in the cells. And that is what we are seeing going on there. There's an overload and an overgrowth in the system, causing this sort of condition to be happening in her body. All right. So this is where we are seeing what is going on there within her system. So guess what's happened? Her lymphatic flow, her lymphatic system, which deals with the immune system, her absorption of fats and fat-soluble nutrients are no longer happening. So the liver, gallbladder, pancreas are going to be in a little stress because the body is not metabolizing as it should. All right. And then the lymph systems is not draining the body fluids. So it is causing congestion and holding water in the lungs and retaining water in the system. All right. And that is because the lymph nodes are congested, because remember, her immune system now is not working as it should. And then the lymph nodes will remain swollen, which she's had some issues with her legs and so forth, the water retention and all of these taking place. So that is what starts to happen with her system. Okay, so all of these that we are seeing in her body and her red blood cells, it's telling me that the body now is low in nutrition, low in B complexes. The body triggers immune system is not able to do what it needs to do. So her vitamins, B12, folic acid, fat soluble vitamins A and E are not in the proper, you know, absorb, it's not there in her system, her blood work to do what is needed to do in the system. Then another thing, digestion is going to be slow because there will be lack of the hydrochloric acid in the system, HCl, and also that stomach acid is going to start wearing and tearing, eating away on the epithelial lining of the stomach, which is the soft tissues, and she will have bile issues, okay, low enzymic function and all of this. Hence the reason why she's going to start having short breath, she's going to have feeling fatigue, lightheadedness, and various types of anemia will start to take place in the system. So having said all of this, here's what happened. After we all scrutinize the blood, you now can see the browns in the blood is toxicity, low oxygenation, heavy metals loading in the system because of the chemo, radiation, and all of this. So all of that is telling me that her bones, you know, her bone mineral density is depleted. So her bones become porous, weaken, and that will hence reason for the pains, the cramps, and all of these things starting to happen in the system. Proteins are high, so it starts to ferment in the body. So creatinine taking place, which uric acid is going to start storing, and the body now is going to start storing it in the kidneys. And what the kidneys identifies in taking all these uric acid is minerals. And if the body is depleted in minerals, then it will continue to store in the kidneys. You might think you're drinking lots of water, but that don't flush these uric acids out of the body. So you would tend to start having high blood pressure. The plaque buildup is going to start happening in the arterial vessels. You might start having, you know, for men, a lot of, you know, male issues starting to take place and all of that. So this is what we are seeing here. Now, the darkness as well is also toxicity in the colon, congestion, you know, pockets are building up bacteria in the pockets of the colon, and all of these things taking place in this cell. All right, so now we have to get these clean up. So where we go from there? Thank God for the Sankey products, because I'm studied it at the nanotechnology point. And I mean, I have been doing a lot of supplements in my practice, but you know, we need to get it works. I'm not saying no, it don't, but when it comes to the immune system and formulations using nanotechnology, here's what happens. It can feed the body, get straight to that mitochondria and start wearing those, building up those degenerated mitochondrial cells so that it can have wellness in the body once more. And this is why we are here on these nights, and I am here to tell you folks that being a virologist and looking at pathology and looking at this for the last 30 years, I have never seen something so potent in this way that it can actually affect the human cells at that cellular level. And studying it in its entirety, I can say, and I have seen it happen with patients of these chronic conditions and nature, why the body needs nutrition. Master Clive said it earlier. It's 98 nutrition and only 2% genetics. All right, your genes don't identify you or cause your DNA to change in any which way. It's what you put into your body. Your cells alters itself according to its environment. And it is no pie in the sky kind of information. I've seen it every day. I've worked with chronic people, so I can tell you over maybe 10,000 plus. I have seen under the microscope and work with them in different modalities. And with nutrition, the body can reverse, recover, and restore itself once you put the right combinations in the system. So here we are at 20 minutes after taking the blood cell. So you can see a difference from this to this. In the terrain itself, you can hardly see any of the ascites in here. You can see any of the viral activity. You might see some crystals still loading. You might see some of these more spikes because we know we have an issue with the pancreas and gallbladder in terms of filtration. But what you are seeing is that the cells now has come open up. You have see them more rounder, and they are actually vibrating on a frequency for wellness. In this way, we talk wellness, homeostasis. All right. So you can see the body taking, and let me tell you, you know what I give this young lady? The only thing I give this young lady was an inner 7 in an 8-ounce glass of water. Lukewarm, not lukewarm, it was warm water. I said, give her it to drink. And while we are going through her report and I'm writing up the reports, this is what we're going to find. So what you are seeing, the platelets now has been removed. It has been digested into the bloodstream, because when you are seeing it on the live microscopy, you will see that like the cells are moving. It's actually moving and it's ingesting the bacteria in the body. The macrophages are moving along. Folks, it's an amazing thing to see this on display. And you can see it ingesting, and it is cleaning out, going in the lymphatic system to be displaced out of the body in the way in which it needs to, the toxins and so forth. So when these platelets are high in the system, it actually causes a disruption in the consciousness of the person's being, because you will be confused. All of these things are going to happen. So there is a connection in all aspects of your body when it comes to your blood, analyzing your blood. All right. The symphrotits, which was these these little, starburst pieces that you're seeing in here, those are actually what devours and actually helps in terms of wellness in the body. So when that is no longer there, we're going to have some problems within the system. So we understand the agglutination of the cells, and these buggers travel through the entire, your terrain. All right. And this is what happens in the system. So as we're looking and we are seeing all the spicules clean up and all of these things, because unchecked, they are the ones that cause the distortion and the disruption in when it comes to bacteria and viruses, all right, in the system. So here's what's happened now. Nice oxygenated cells. It's not all that profound yet, but you can see the absorption. So when you see something like this, don't you understand? Don't it take you back to the point how your body was created? It was created for wellness. It was created to heal itself. So if you give it the right combination, you're going to get the desired results. And what the cells needed, it needed nutrition. It needed minerals to break down the proteins, and then everything is going to start happening thereafter. So here is what we are seeing. Cells now are more oxygenated, and mind you, it is going to stay in this condition for the next 6 to 8 hours, and then it's going to go not back to this, but it's going to go back to a point, something looking at this, because you know why? The body now, the cells signals each other and tell it, wow, we're getting nutrition in there. So it's going to load into the bloodstream, and then it's going to clean out again. So you need to take your inner 7 every 6 to 8 hours so that you will have a constant supply of absorption. Because what is going to happen in the place of reverse, recover, and restore, you're going to find that the body now will be detoxifying in a faster rate, and the wellness part in terms of regeneration has to catch up. And the catching up is where the pain and inflammation arise in the body, because now the body realizes, wow, food coming in, wow, let's get rid of all of these unwanted citizens inside my body, and it's going to it will need to repair fast. So what we do as a health coach and as a nutritionist in this field, we shut the body down so that it can repair itself, and then the detoxifying will go at a faster rate, and then we shut it down again to repair, so that the body will have a certain stage where it is not going to be too much in pain and inflammation. Because pain, when inflammation starts to leave your body, it's very painful, people. I don't know if you know this who have been chronically ill, it is very painful, but that's the way the body reverse, recovers, and restore, and homeostasis start to take place in the system. So after 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes, another spill was taken, and this is where the body was at. So now we can see the cells are opening, it's adjusting. No longer we're going to see these crystals in it. As long as it's in there, the body is going to do what it needs to do from this spill. So first, there is a certain side of this that we can read as well. Now, the whites are protein puddles as well, but it also shows a type of your auras in your bloodstream. So the auras there that we are seeing, she was a very heavy religious person. So although the whites have a part of inflammation and protein puddles, it also tells me that she also seeks divine intervention in her life. All right. The brownness in the body there, the darkness, yes, is toxicity and colon, backup and all of these things, bacteria in the system. But it also says that there is some negative energies that interfered with her. Sickness is one of those, because your body was never made to be sick. It was always made to be healthy. And when sickness hits the body, it is a direct attack to the spirit being, because your body was never made to be sick. All right. And then the things that we are putting into our body is causing it to come to this form and state in the system. All right. So that is what we are seeing. Also, the cells are not looking red, but they are darkish, brownish, purplish in color. Now, the brownish says there's a lot of confusion in her system, her mind fogginess, fatigue, not, she's under anxiety, depression, because she wants to be well, but the body, and family members. And when I hit on those areas in her body, the tears just start to flow, because she are realizing that there's too much pressure on her. She's taking on too much, and maybe family members, why you don't get well, why you on this, and and these things. And those are what hits that soul and causes an additional stress and pain within the system. You are violating the right of your system to be well. All right. So this is sorry folks. Whoa. Yeah. So this is what happens with the system when it is, traumatized. So we have to understand that this is where the body goes into that state of confusion. So all of that combined with the sickness can cause serious degeneration within your triune being. All right. So this is where we are at. So folks, tonight we are in for a wonderful opportunity in our hands that brings reverse, recover, and restore. This is just a touch on the iceberg. All right. I can show you slides, and I will bring that up in other sessions. Endometriosis, fibroids, befores and afters. So this is what we are involved with. A company over 40 years in the making. The laboratory, Sankey Mayer, Japan began to investigate the centenarians. And you know why they live so long? Because he had studied the microbiome and the gut, how they sleep, nutrigenomics, all right, nutrigenomics, in studying the body system and how it's metabolizing. So if you are not metabolizing and going, digesting, and different things start happening in the system, you can actually change your blood terrain. It can be a healthy blood cell, and you start putting toxic, chronic thoughts, food, different things in that system, even the environment that you work in. I have a lot of people work in chemical environment, and it just changed their blood cells into toxicity, and they start having, chronic heavy metals loading in their cells, becoming sick, all these kinds of things start happening to them. It's because of the environment. The cells are now absorbing these things, because the liver is the main detoxing organ, and when the liver gets hit with all these chemicals, the body goes into chaos. So after studying the centenarians, they found that, all illnesses, they were not suffering from chronic degenerative illnesses. And it was found that is how they ate, their mental capacity was renewed. They go out in nature, they eat more raw foods, phytonutrients, and all of that. Nothing, as Dr. Franco always say, anything with a head is dead, is meat, is rotting in your system, and that is what they studied. And we have 50 plus years of scientific research, folks. We have the research manuals on the ONR, Orazot enzyme, inner 7, pharmaceutical specialities. We are also the blue ocean. We are our own new, we're not red ocean, blue ocean. We are new here, as well as changing the history of medicine and how medicine looks. And when I say change in the history of medicine, I mean this is the future medicine now in our time. All right, it's no longer, we normally say 30 years ago, I was praying and looking for something like this. The future of medicine is here and now. We have the science behind it, in vivo studies. Let me tell you something, these studies has not done on rats and mice and whatever, they have been done on human beings, and you would hear it in other sessions as we go along. All right, we are in the PDRs, we a physician's desk reference, that's our Bible. So when somebody come with a nutraceutical and they say, look, I'm using this, we look at this big book and we start flipping pages and we say, oh yes, that can work. Yes, it's a nutraceutical. It was passed, you know, and we are in the JAMA, the American Journal of Medicine. We are also in there. So folks, nutrigenomics is now what we are involved with and what we have in our system, because today's world, the foods that we are eating is genetically modified. We are not eating raw foods anymore. We are eating chemically based foods. And if you eat chemically based foods, it's going to chemically change your blood cells, and your blood cells is going to change into something mutant so that it can bring a disease in your body. All right, that's what it is. It will disease your system because your body was not designed to eat and put in these chemicals within the system. All right, so here we have our fantastic 4 formulations, I call them. They are actually food for the body. So I'm going to have my panel. I think, I'm not sure if Nurse Donnelly is on the line tonight. I'm not sure, but Clive and I know my trusted Charlie here, Angel is going to go through with our formulation. So Charlie, I'm going to hand you, he's the king of Asaki. Folks, when Master Clive talk about Asaki, you feel like you're making love to this product. Seriously, how he says how it goes down into your esophagus and how it works into the system. My. I'm going to allow him to take the floor. So Charlie, you are going to take Asaki and Belage tonight. Over to you, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much again, Dr. Pereira. Ladies and gentlemen, we did not understand the human body over the last how many thousands of years in the same way we have understood it over the last 30 years. That is why we are talking about nutrition and restoration of the gut. Of all the places, the gut, because we thought that the gut was just a food processor, that it passes through this long 30-foot tube and they extract some nutrients and then it drops out at the other end. But a lot of science is in the gut. And Hippocrates tried to tell us long time ago that all diseases begins in the gut. And today, current medical science is substantiating all that he has said. So here is what runs the human body. This tube, this original U-tube that runs through the human body from where it starts to where it ends. And here we have a company called Sankey Global that is specializing in making nutrition for the gut along with the other human cells, for the human cells, because of its study of the Okinawans for 40 years. So here we are utilizing Bovia technology. It's a revolutionary formula that contains 596 different metabolites. So each serving of this amazing King Asaki contains 5,000 milligrams of metabolites of cacao per portion. That is important. So the metabolites of Bovia are bioactive molecules which increases the diversity of the intestinal microbiota. Now look at the beauty of the language. Those guys who are trying to get rid of, all of a sudden, they are playing a pivotal role in the health of human beings. And now we are catering for them so we might increase the diversity and the variety of these microbes, because we have anywhere from 500 to 1,000 species of bacteria living inside of the gut. If you don't have certain keystone microbes, then you might be struggling with your health, because each microbe make different types of nutrients for the human body, including our medicine. And each metabolite that comes along is feeding different sets of microbes. So it's a powerful story, ladies and gentlemen. So here's a product that nourishes the microbiota. It improves the absorption of protein by 20%. You know from the discussions we have had over the months, and we have Dr. Pereira talking about it, how important it is for us to have these amino acids being in our body. It also increases the oxidation of fat. So, ladies and gentlemen, in a world that is heavier than it needs to be, we have a product now that anywhere there's unwanted, unnecessary fat, here is an intelligent product that removes it, and it sustains proper weight management. Oh my word. When we look at even kids today that are not only fat but obese, childhood obesity means adult obesity. And here we have a product that helps to maintain your weight properly. You need this in addition to what you are doing in terms of your daily exercise routines and so on. This is a proper product, ladies and gentlemen. And here's a clincher. It provides vital energy for the trillions of mitochondria. You see, we have to make the distinction between microbiome, the bacteria, mitochondria, the energy generating portion of the cell. If the cells cannot generate energy, the cell will die because it starts to malfunction, and then it will die. And might be the reason why sometimes cancer cells are formed in the body. So here we have a tremendous product that is able now, ladies and gentlemen, to nourish the human body in a way that before now we struggled. I don't know if I'm going to go through the drama of giving them the journey of a sake from the mouth all the way down, because I know in the interest of time we might want to move on to the bellage. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the first product of Sankey Global. It's coming up momentarily. I think Dr. Pereira will bring it up for us. The first product that took 15 years, hundreds of scientists working on the bellage that is made of olive and rosemary, certain types of keystone strains of bacteria to give us this amazing product made out of Orizod enzyme 5. It was 3, now it is 5. And it's capable of going inside of the cell of the mitochondria and begin to repair it, renew it like an internal WD-40 to resuscitate the health of the mitochondria. We can't overstress the mitochondria. We talk about it in both of these products because the mitochondria is important for energy production. The day you stop producing energy is the day you die. And many of us are suffering in our health because we don't have sufficient energy within the cell. It is 100% natural, nothing artificial, no GMO stuff around here. 100% natural, ladies and gentlemen, organic. It strengthens the immune system. Now, when you have a product in a time like this that strengthens the immune system, ladies and gentlemen, you are on the right track, because you can't fight COVID without a proper up and running, full 100, plug in and turn on immune system. We know that because even from fighting cancer, immunotherapy has become a critical part. Am I right, Dr. Pereira? Immunotherapy has become a critical part of fighting cancer.
Yes.
The oncologists are saying we can't fight cancer with a compromised immune system. So, ladies and gentlemen, the immune system is only as good as your microbiome. If the microbiome is damaged, your immune system is damaged and compromised. So we have to fix the microbiome to fight cancer cells. We have to fix the microbiome to fight the viral cells. It goes without saying. So when you have a product that strengthens your immune system, don't treat it lightly. Because I was speaking to a bishop earlier today. And when the bishop says to me, I know him very well, Mr. Clyde, I am just off today. I am just out of it. I'm a little sad, under the weather, even depressed. He tells us about key members of his church that are dying before he can finish the conversation, and the one that has died, another one has died. And him say before service this morning, somebody else died. My God, what is happening? So we need, ladies and gentlemen, something to give us a new scope of hope to cope. Here comes Bellage. 84% effective, clinically proven against fighting and killing the COVID virus. It increases energy production, reactivates natural antioxidants, which of course the body's two natural antioxidants are superoxide dismutase and glutathione. And we need that to do what? Fight free radicals. We need it because we are in a toxic world. Free radical to the left, free radical to the right, up north, down south. And our health has been compromised because of free radicals. Here we have a product that dismantles free radicals and scavenge them. And so this is no ordinary product. It improves the hydration of our cells. Ladies and gentlemen, the cells have to be hydrated. And this is what does it. It decreases fat and sugar and improves blood circulation. Were you listening to what Dr. Perry was saying earlier on about the blood? The necessity of the blood being circulated, the life of the flesh being the blood. Ladies and gentlemen, everything happens in the body because it is touched by blood. And here is a product that improves the circulation of blood and help persons who are diabetic to control blood sugar levels. I've taken too much time. Dr. Pereira, back over to you, please. Oh, your mic is on. Sorry, your mic is probably turned.
Sorry guys about that. So NS7, we spoke about the NS7 earlier and what we see in the blood, over 60 plus minerals in that, magnesium, sodium, potassium, to name a few. It improves the natural defense mechanism. So these products work synergistically with each other in bringing about homeostasis within the system. So what these does, the minerals absorb into the blood cells, and the role of the blood is to irrigate the organic tissue so that the cells can constantly supply oxygen and nutrients throughout the body. All right, that is what is the role of the blood: removing toxins, transmitting hormonal messages to one cell to another, so that the immune system can do what it is required and needed. Contributes to proper pH balance. All right, when the body is acidic, the calcium helps to regulate the acidity and the pH in the bloodstream. So what it does, it actually brings the pH back in the blood. It also also oxygenate the cells, build red blood cells in the bone marrow, and also strengthens the veins and arteries. That is what calcium does. Magnesium is the fourth most abundant mineral. That's why we have it there front line: magnesium, sodium, and potassium. All these help in regulating high blood pressure, liver fat content, fatty lipids, breaking it down in the system, and helps it to regulate in the way in which it needs to do proper digestion with the liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas. All right, so it actually 66% of it is found in the bones, 33% in the skeletal and cardiac muscles. All right, that's why it energizes the body. It brings back, sometimes you feel fatigue, crashing, pains, and all of that in the system. Well, the magnesium helps with all of those chronic inflammation in the body as well. Also helps in the connective tissue, autoimmune diseases. The doctors name these certain types of diseases autoimmune because they don't know, and they can identify what causes it. So it just labeled as autoimmune diseases, and they give them fancy labels and names. But it simply means that your body has gone into a degenerative state. The organs are not doing what it's supposed to do. So it's, bringing about inflammation that's changing your biological terrain into a disease, or a dis-ease, as we say in the body. All right, so selenium has the effect on vitamin C. It regenerates more of your vitamin C's in the body, so it helps protect at microcirculation. Persons who suffer from deep vein thrombosis, DVTs, varices of veins, spider webs, and all of these that we call it, it is because you're not getting flow at the microcirculation level. So which means these little valves on the smaller capillaries are weakened, so they remain open. So when blood flow, it regurgitates back and it starts to become septic. Yes, that's why the doctor give you antibiotics for it, but it's not really helping. It's just to prevent it from becoming more septic and bacterial, so it can, start to cause darkness in the skin and all of that, because it's not getting oxygen through the blood flow there. All right. So potassium regulates the heart muscle. It promotes smooth transition to these signals. Persons who suffers from osteochondrosis, intervertebral osteochondrosis, meaning the degeneration of the nerve endings along the tissues and the spinal column, and all of these is areas that you may have in, pains and so forth from maybe injury in your past or even present, or different things that happen as the body gets younger. It starts to degenerate because there are a lack of these minerals. So you must be beefing up and, keeping the body at all times mineralized with, and helping the cells to do what it needs to do. Copper regulates the blood cholesterol. And last but not least, zinc, men's health. Folks, zinc is very important for our guys, persons who suffer from erectile dysfunction, as well as the belage, helps in terms of circulation. Also 50 mgs is required. The formulations are just, in the right capacity and amounts that the body needs, 100% natural. So it helps in prostate health, prostatitis syndrome, inflamed prostate, and all of those things. It also helps in persons who have had, kidney stones and so forth. Many people didn't realize that they do have these things, uric acid building up in the kidneys. And when they start using it and drinking water, and what is nice about it, when they are taking these supplements, it causes you to drink more water. It means that the body is hydrating itself, so you feel a little more thirsty. And that's a good thing, because without drinking water, you cannot flush the toxins out of your body. And many people, have that sort of problems. They don't feel thirsty, especially if you're working in an AC environment. So the body don't feel that they need water. All right, so this is another thing that happens. Now, going over to the chronifier, well, the chronifier is Nurse Donnelly's baby. I'm going to try to do justice to this product. It's green tea, polyphenol, and ONR, which is our auxiliary nitricet, and also perfected with black beans, rosemary, and green tea. 100% natural again, folks. This chronifier reduces the carbohydrates. It's one of the formulations that helps with digestion, metabolize it. So while you sleep, the ONR is a biocomposite that formulated to add weight loss by reducing the digestion of dietary carbohydrates. When you eat carbs, it does not break down in the body as it should. So it stores, and it starts to, store around the areas that you don't want it store around, the midsection there, right? And it also brings about the glucose level in the body. So when that starts to happen, the formulations is formulated by bioactive, bioavailability. What it means is that, some of you will say, well, I'm going to get a rosemary tree and I'm going to boil it and drink it. And folks, bioavailability, you cannot extract it and bring that composition so that the body can absorb it at that point, so that it helps with digestion and metabolize it. There is a difference in how it is formulated. All right, so they're formulated. The rosemary and olive are powerful antioxidants. The black beans inhibit enzymic digestion of polysaccharides, which raises the glucose in the system. All right, so this has the effect on the weight loss. So when you sleep, you notice she's sleeping but resting and smiling. The picture there, restore and protect. So you are getting a good night's sleep as well as digestion is taking place. All right, so the antioxidants of the olive, which is the Olea europaea, right, which is the bacteria in the extracting of the olive, and the rosemary, actually it's a complex formulation where it protects the gastrointestinal tract against oxidative distress. What that simply means is that it coats the stomach lining so that it's not going to get wear and tear by the acidic juices from the hydrochloric acid that's built in the stomach. So it coats it so you can have more absorption, because in the small intestines where digestion takes place, large intestines where, everything is absorbed back into the system. So full of these vessels of absorbency and healthy. All right. And the black beans also contains, it's the defense against proteins. So it helps to inhibit amylase, all right, and alpha amylase inhibitors. You know what that is? When that rise in the system, that is what causes a lot of problems with female issues, fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, because when you don't digest, why do your doctor give you certain medications for diabetes? It's because it's a digestive issue, and also stress brings that on. So if you're not metabolizing as you should, the amylase and lipids and all of these things are going to be high in the system, and that helps in digesting these polysaccharides. So when that doesn't happen, you have that effect in the body. So that's why you get glucophage, you get diamicron in our parts of the Caribbean, and maybe in other parts, different names they have with new medication that comes out there. So here you have it in a nutshell, folks. It helps to reduce the carbohydrates absorption, and also it is grown on our farms with low pollution environment. So from farm to lab. So there is no in between to get contamination or anything as the case may be. So folks, tonight, I want to thank you for being a wonderful audience. We now have to jump on our other call. I think we still make great time, 8:09. So Master Clive, will you close us in prayer as we jump on our next call to see the awards that has been happening for all of you beautiful people on this call. I know you are there in for your awards. Back over to you, Master Clive.
Thank you so much. Remember tomorrow night.
And give us, and give us the moving forward in the week of our
great.
Tuesday nights.
Thank you. So come tomorrow night, Monday, we have Nurse Donnelly Adderley giving you updates on sleep, high blood pressure, diabetic type issues in her own style. Very powerful call. Come Tuesday night, we have the microbiome call, ladies and gentlemen. So Wednesday night, we have testimonies, and we have persons shining in to tell us how the product is working for them. And Thursday night, 9 o'clock, later, Jamaica time, 10 o'clock for the Eastern Standard Time, 4. We have a special call. You don't want to miss this call for persons who want to hear in terms of how the products are helping to resuscitate the bedroom life and putting back and rekindling the fire in the bedroom, and to speak about stuff that sometimes don't often talk about because we're not in the mental space to talk about it. But to create the mental space, we talk about it instead of leaving it, just sweeping it under the carpet and tripping over it. So we have some interesting things. Down to Saturday night, we're going to be having a very powerful lady. Her name is Miss Rosemary, Miss Little. I know our Little, and she's going to talk about mindset, how to reset the mind, and also to talk about how to do a dream board. So the entire week is planned out, become a part of it, starting 7 o'clock each night to get more details as the days go by. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for tonight. Thank you for your people. Thank you that in all the craziness is happening, you have kept us together. Bless us, Lord. Bless the poor coming up. Thank you for Dr. Denise and her pouring out in our spirits. May you bless her, refill her cup, so she may be blessed and her family. Have your own way, we pray. Ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, guys, we go to the next call now. Thank you, Lady Denise Pereira. Have a good night all.